Do you know that many women tend to be quiet, try to people please, avoid conflicts, fear of arguments and criticisms? They keep their thoughts, feelings, and desires to themselves and struggle with communication breakdowns, which prevents them from having a happy relationship that they want. Hello, this is GraceSOULutions, communication expert. Welcome to Communicates Happily Ever After video series. All right, so as you know, in every single story that you might read out there, there is a main character. And so in this video series, you are the main character. And as such, in stories, main characters not only faces challenges, but sometimes they also get a lot of opinions and advice from other people in the story, right? So in the main character in the story, a lot of the times the main character might face challenges and there might be some advice from some other characters in the story. So you are the main character, and this communicates happily ever after video series. So you as the main character, as you face challenges or you face some situations, you probably also get a lot of advice from other people, wanted and or unwanted. So what do? Sometimes you might be faced with all these opinions and advice, and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or you don't want to come across as someone who's not appreciative of the advice and opinions that have been given to you. So I will be sharing with you magic phrases in this video series that you can use that will help you to deal with communication breakdowns. So in this video series, we're talking about the topic of opinions and advice. So like I mentioned earlier, you as the main character, you probably have received many advices and opinions, wanted and or unwanted. And so what do? Because you don't want to come across as somebody who's not appreciative, as well as sometimes you don't want to come across as someone who accepts everybody's opinions or advice. There's just too many, right? So how do you do that? Well, one of the ways that you can make the person feel good, that you're appreciative of the advice and opinions that's been shared with you, you can just use this magic phrase, thank you for sharing your opinion or advice, if it's an advice. So if it's an opinion, you can say, thank you for sharing your opinion. If it's an advice, thank you for sharing your advice. One, it lets the person know that, hey, you're appreciative of the advice, opinions, whatever has been shared with you. And two, it doesn't mean that you're actually agreeing or accepting the opinion or advice. You're just thanking the person, but you're not stating, oh, thank you for your advice or thank you for your opinion, and then you're going to say, I'm going to do exactly what you say. No, you're not stating that. You're just saying, thank you for your opinion, thank you for your advice, and just leave it at that. And if they ask you, well, are you going to do what I say, or are you going to follow through? Do you agree with me? You could just say, again, thank you for your opinion, advice, and I think I'm going to just sit with it for a while. And you're allowed to sit with it for a while. Not every decision has to be made very quickly, and you don't have to make the decisions very quickly. You don't have to accept anything very quickly. You could just say, thank you for your advice, thank you for your opinion. And if they push you to say, well, are you going to take it, what are you going to do? And just say, I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to sit with it, because you're not making the declaration that yes, you're going to do it. Okay, because you're right. Sometimes the good intentions, the person might have great intention in sharing their opinion or sharing their advice. The person might have great intention in sharing his or her opinion or advice. However, it might not suit your needs, or it might not be exactly what would work for you or what you're looking for. But that person did take their time. That person did take their time to give and offer some opinion or advice. So we just want to say thank you to that person for that. And whether or not you decide to take the opinion or accept the opinion or advice, whatever it is, that is up to you. And you don't need to make a declaration of that. And by thanking the person, you certainly are not making a declaration that you actually agree or that you're going to follow through with it. any of that. No, that is up to you. All you have to do is just thank the person. So when a person shares their opinion or advice, and you don't agree with it, you don't necessarily need to jump in right away and say, oh, I'm not going to do that, or, because again, let's be mindful of how we're communicating so that it's constructive and not in a way that is also that can be destructive, where it could be seen as a criticism or hurtful statement or what have you. Again, the person who shared his or her opinion, or the group that shared their opinion or advice with you, they're doing it from a place of good intention. And we want to acknowledge that. Who doesn't want to be acknowledged for the good intention that we are sharing? I certainly like to be appreciated with my good intention, and I'm sure you feel the same way. If you feel that way, that, when you share something, it's coming from a good intention, you want to be acknowledged for it, why not the other person, right? So when you think of it that way, then certainly the magic phrase is thank you for sharing your opinion, or thank you for sharing your advice, whatever it is that they're sharing with you. Again, you don't need to make a declaration of agreeing, accepting, or any of that. Just acknowledge their good intention, and that way they feel appreciative, and also feel that you have acknowledged that they did come from a good place of sharing what they shared. Now, sometimes some people do share their opinions or advice when not asked for, and it may be an intention of good or bad. So you can ask yourself, what is the intention? If it's coming from a good place, thank them. Even if it's not from a good place, even if their intention perhaps is to hurt you or to prove them right or what have you, thank them anyway, right? Just say, thank you for your opinion. Thank you for your advice. And that's it. Because after all, whether or not it was asked for, they took the time, they shared it, you can just thank them for it. Okay? So, magic phrase, thank you for sharing your opinion or advice. Whether or not you decide to take the advice or take the opinion, that's up to you. Just like I'm sharing the magic phrase, thank you for sharing your advice, thank you for sharing your opinion. You might agree with it, you might not. And that's okay, because you are the character. You choose and decide which magic phrases that I'm sharing with you will work for you. And this phrase might not work for you, and you might have something else that does. Wonderful. Wonderful. Because my intention is to have you have some magic phrases that you can use in certain situations, so that you don't have to struggle and think about, oh, what should I say? Oh, this person said that, I should have said that, or whatever. No, I want you to have some magic phrases in your pocket, so that if certain situations come up, you know exactly what you can use and what you can say. So that way, you know how to deal with communication breakdowns should it ever happen, right? So if somebody's giving you unwanted opinion or advice, oh, should I fight back? Should I say? Now you have something that you can use that will hopefully help just to kind of dispel some of the arguments, or dispel some of that breakdown that you might be experiencing, and just say, thank you for sharing your opinion, thank you for sharing your advice, and you can just say, I have something else to do, and you can just walk away. All right, so that is the magic phrase in dealing with opinions or advice, whether you had wanted it, when you asked for the opinion or advice, or whether it was just shared with you and you didn't really necessarily wanted the opinion or advice. However, the magic phrase, right? Thank you for sharing your opinion. Thank you for sharing your advice. All right, so if you or anyone you know struggle with communication breakdowns, or struggle with communicating their thoughts, feelings, and desires, be sure to visit my website, GraceSOULutions.com. That's GraceSOULutions.com to book a complimentary 30-minute session. Yes, complimentary 30-minute session. It's totally free, no obligation whatsoever. This could change your life forever.